lavender blonde, down a dark alley, freaks that carry your luggage up to the room. It came from Hangar 18 with Scott Fultz, and the entire Vic Valentine Private Eye series are now available. Well,
so this piece is called Escape from Thrillville, which is appropriate because I'm moving to Seattle. When booze becomes the only thing that floats your boat, it's time to drain the lake. This is why I was seriously considering hanging up the fez hat, shades, and smoking jacket after 17 years in this thankless racket. Defending Thrillville from a motley assortment of mad scientists, monsters, gangsters, rapists, killers, kidnappers, and jaywalkers had definitely taken its toll on my sanity, which eventually meant sacrificing my sobriety. My giant martini glass had once been a main source of my power. Now it had become my, I had a few martinis before this. Not a giant martini, just a bunch of little ones, which would have fit into a giant martini glass. Where was I? My giant martini glass had once been a main source of my power. You getting this?
Yeah.
Now it had become my worst enemy, even more than lousy fashion and crappy music. I'm Will the Thrill, by the way. Lounge lizard for hire. I fight crime for a living. Except it doesn't actually pay anything, so I'm always broke. Cheap thrills do not pay the bills. To be honest, I steal what little money I have, typically from crime scenes. Sometimes I sell the dope I've recovered. I'm not a good guy. I just act like one. I guess I'm what's known as an anti-hero. I'm also antisocial. I hate people, except for the ones with nice tits. And even then, only if they're nice to me. Superficial appearances count. I only dress like I'm a swinging hipster. It's all part of my fabricated public image. People don't believe what you tell them, they believe what you show them. Before I donned the snazzy outfit, the snazzy duds, I was just another poor, in all senses, chronically lonesome schnook, wasting his nights home alone with a good book or bad movie. Once I found the magical fez in a thrift shop one crazy day, my entire life changed. I soon discovered that with great power comes, well, you know, all that jazz. Behind the martini bar was a portrait of the Holy Trinity, Frank, Dean, and Sammy. It was my shrine where I went to worship when I needed sustenance from a higher power, and nobody got higher than those guys. The thrill pad was my fortress of solitude and my back cave combined, except much smaller with a lot more kinky sex toys scattered around like tiki-shaped vibrators, edible hallucinogenic dice, and pornographic strip poker card decks. It had been one long, wild thrill ride, all right. But now it seemed the party was over. I was a middle-aged wolf, after all. Even my sidekick, the tiki goddess, the most beautiful and exotic woman I'd ever met, whose superpower was seduction, didn't answer the thrill phone or respond to the thrill signal anymore. I think she was tired of waiting around for me to marry her or something. I'd blown it. I was retiring from this racket exactly the way I'd started alone. I started it alone. This is fiction, by the way. After nearly 2 decades of facing off with everything from nympho vampires to alien hitmen to rampaging robots to lycanthropic mobsters, I was accustomed to weirdness. Overly familiar with it, in fact. This was exactly the kind of thing I was trying to get away from. Then she suddenly let out a long, evil laugh. "I'm just fucking with you," she said. "I'm not actually Betty Page. I'm just messing with you." "What? Why?" "Because that's what I do. I'm the mindfucker." The tiki goddess was on stage performing a moody medley in her smoky Julie London, June Christie style, backed up by the house band, a bunch of beret-wearing, bongo-beating beatniks called the Moonrays. I took a seat at the bamboo bar, ordered a classic Mai Tai, and waited for her set to end. When she was finished, she joined me, but with a cool demeanor that clinked around in the air between us like ice in my glass. "Welcome to Chillville," I said. "What do you want?" she asked, cutting the chit-chat while nodding at the bartender, who responded immediately with a ready-made French 75. That's the secret power of the mindfucker. There is no mindfucker. Not in singular, tangible form, anyway. That's how the mindfucker can operate without ever being captured. He, she, it remains at large, a perpetual perpetrator, precisely because he, she, it is constantly being regenerated by he, her, its own victims, even though the victims are in fact the perps. A particularly aggressive zombie tore off the tiki goddess's shiny satin dress, so she was wearing nothing but her leopard skin underwear and snakeskin pumps. I found this very distracting, but didn't detract from the tiki goddess's axe-kicking abilities, as she swung her magnificent gams around with lethal athleticism, kickboxing her way through the horrible hordes, smashing the skulls of her avaricious attackers, their putrid brains spilling all over the bamboo floor. So why would the conformist, mindless minions, normally as harmless as mannequins, suddenly morph into cannibalistic predators, feasting on human flesh? Was the mindfucker behind this sudden radical change of behavior, or was this even really happening? No time to debate myself. The screams of the patrons attempting to flee the zombies surrounding us were all too real. I ran outside to the Thrillmobile to retrieve my own trademark weapon, the giant martini glass, then returned to join the defense against the violent assault. But something unprecedented happened. My unbreakable martini glass broke. I just dropped it on the floor by accident, and it shattered. Defenseless, I was overwhelmed by the zombies. I felt them tearing into my body and my soul. I couldn't see the tiki goddess anymore. One of them stabbed a metal straw right through my fez, penetrating my skull, and my brains were being sucked out right through the top of my torn scalp. I was saved by the shrill ringing of the alarm clock. I looked at the time and groggily realized I was almost late for work. Again. I couldn't afford to get fired from another job. Maybe today was the day I'd finally summon up the courage to ask my dream girl and favorite customer out on a date. First summoning up the courage to actually talk to her outside of her heartless transactions. Then I quit my job. It was time for me to outgrow reality in favor of my fantasies. By the way, I thought I should tell you none of this actually happened, except in my own mind.
And now yours. Cheers.